What are the three main things? You had three things that were really common fraud patterns. Like why does this happen? And what are the main patterns that kind of play out? Can you take us through those?
Yeah, well, and not, I think again, focusing on why is because of the communication channels, right? It just enables it, and that's where it all comes. That's where it all stems from. At least everything we've seen, because doc, fake insurance exists on documents, right? It's on paper. You will not find this stuff in policy admin systems. At the end of the day, that's not where it starts and ends with the document. Quite honestly, in many cases, and then you see all the interesting attempts at trying to push this information through and get it accepted, and people are clever. I mean, it's hard. It's very difficult sometimes to catch these. That's why we've had to build so many processes on our end to be able to account for that as well. But yeah, you see everything with people actually trying to represent legitimate insurance agents. I mean,
Yeah.
we have we know one of the insurance agents over the very, very, well-known broker organization, and we've seen actual messages come through with their not only their signature line, but they had the photo. Like it's like it like really looks legit because it's like these are folks who actually they are real licensed insurance agents. It's not just fake information. It's like it's actually misrepresentation. It's almost like identity theft, right? Because they're actually trying to really pass it off not only just as this particular legitimate insurance broker, but this very legitimate person whose information is now in here. And so, if you've done business with these folks over the years, I mean, this is just one way in which, it could very easily get pushed through, right? And of course, someone could potentially miss that. Everything from just, the common stuff you guys all probably already seen, right? Just, like we have a little example here in number three, and just changing a little something in the domain name to try and fool you, right? And quite honestly, going back to the agents and brokers, a lot of the times, they're victims here as well, because it's their identity that's being stolen. A very, very close friend of mine who's an insurance agent, gave me examples when we kind of were creating Certificial and having some of these type of conversations many years ago, and showed and shared their own experience where, they had COIs with their actual signature, and it was their signature. It wasn't somebody created a signature and using their name. No, it was their signature on the form that they never created and then it was never there. They got it off of something else, put it into another document, and I'll tell you a lot of these things. I'm again going back to slide one. I'm not surprised to see why people's confidence level is so low. It's pretty easy to do, and it's pretty easy to slip by, especially when you're dealing with these things in the thousands, or tens of thousands.
Yeah. Chris, have you seen how this plays out in contracts and where others have thought about how do we even bake this into beyond thinking towards the end after that's happened or even contractual agreements on the front end that folks are doing out there in the wild?
Yeah, I've seen contractual agreements from anywhere from like a piece of paper that's handwritten that's like, like you need to get insurance or it doesn't even mention that to very sophisticated ones where I'm like, wow, thank goodness they have this where they actually like incorporate the certificate of insurance into the contract itself to say, like this is part of the contract so that it's legitimate. And also not just using sort of the online sample COIs, right? Some of them are very sort of just bare bones, but you can actually add in things there to specify insurance, like give me the endorsements or name the endorsements of that it's covered or name the vehicles that it's covered under the COI to help really, really figure out like whether or not it's legit or not. I think that helps sort of ensure that there's actual insurance, right? You can't make up all the numbers, you can't make up all the vehicles. You got to really, really get all that information down.
And
Absolutely.
I'll add one thing there, and I'd be curious, if this falls directly in line with fraud. I personally think it does, but I don't know, maybe Chris has a different opinion. Obtaining insurance, having it all be legit, including the certificate of insurance, and canceling it a week later.
Yeah.
Mm.
And on the insurance, on the certificate of insurance, oftentimes, if you are an additional insured, you're not actually they're not actually obligated to tell you like, hey, it's been canceled.
So,
They're only obligated to tell the policyholder. So sometimes you're thinking, wow, I have this certificate of insurance, I'm covered. a week after it's been canceled, you're like, oh wow, I wish I would have known it was been canceled. And so
Yeah.
maybe that's something, whoever is an additional insured should say, can you bake it into your policy or to tell your insurance company to let us know too, to CC us or let us know so we're in the loop about, whether this is canceled, or tell your broker to let us know so we can sort of figure that part out if it gets canceled.
Yeah. I'm sure if
Yeah.
folks on this call deal with a lot of COIs, they know for every one of those requests, there's a dollar associated with it, right?
Absolutely.